My daughter was 5 years old when we heard the words, "She has cancer." It was the first time that my family and I had really been exposed to suffering of any kind. It was a new and frightening world for us. But in reality, one of the things that we learned was that it's not something new and foreign to most people. It was on this street here that I first met Mr. Buford. He was a man in his 60s and had lived on this street for 40 some odd years, but had been homeless for the previous 3. And it was through Mr. Buford that I realized that even in the midst of suffering, in the midst of hardship and uncertainty, that Jesus can still be very, very present. Over the course of a number of years, I would sit here on this porch with Mr. Buford, and we would talk a lot about life and regrets, and even more about Jesus, about God, about what the Bible teaches. Even though I'm a licensed professional Christian, it seemed like Mr. Buford knew more about the Bible than I did, and he taught me a great deal. You see, but we as human beings, we like to try to insulate ourselves from suffering. We like to pretend that if we just stick our head in the ground, maybe it'll go away, or at least it's not going to affect my family. But the reality is we can't run away from it. It's here, it's palpable in our world. And what we learn in the scripture is that Jesus didn't run away from suffering either. He actually ran towards it. That's the whole purpose of the incarnation. You know, we like to think that God maybe doesn't care or God is unconcerned about what's going on in this world, but we can't say that when we really understand what the coming of Jesus was about. It meant that God cared enough to come. It meant that God understands because he became one of us. The scripture says that he was a man of sorrows. He understands what we're going through. And so when we walk through some of these things, we can know that God cares. We can even know that he understands. And so when we're faced with those paths of suffering and difficulty in our own lives or in others, we don't have to be afraid to walk down those roads. And we can know with confidence that Jesus is there with us, even going before us, paving the way with his affection and his grace.